Okay, so now it's December 27th, 2022 at 4:17 in the morning here. And what we're looking at, and I'm going to put this first, and then whatever I've been doing in the kitchen next, okay? And then we're going to go into the next video, right? We got to get into that ham, okay? We got to get into that happy hour. That's going to be my happy hour. But in the meantime, you know, I'm in my studio, right? I go into this comment and mentions, and what's the first thing I see? Okay, look. This girl is still stalking me, people. Okay? She just did this a day ago. Right? Okay? And she did it here too. She did 2 videos in a row. Okay? Now I have to remember, we know what this girl did to Shamay. Okay? Anyway, went to her channel, and she kind of fell off the grid for a little bit. Personally, I think she was in a mental institution. I really do. Because this one right here is her more recent video. She literally acts like a kid. A juvenile. Right? But then that's nothing new. And just getting rid of this ad here. I'm documenting that she's still stalking me, people. Okay? She comes in with her poisonous fish. Because I guess this thing here, whatever it is poisonous. And you have to cook it a certain kind of way before you can even eat it. Okay? And then I don't know what the purpose of this is, other than to remind me that she's still stalking me and my family. Okay? So she starts off with her little fish shit. And then she goes into opening presents with her mother in the background, clearly egging her on. Because her mother can't say that she's not aware of this shit. Okay? I don't know what kind mother releases a freaking lunatic out into society to do their dirty work for them. Because that's kind of how I feel about it, people. Because the mother never puts this thing into check. Okay? That's just the way I see it. Or anyone else, for that matter, that's connected to this individual here. To which we know I'm not planting potatoes this year because of this individual. And for all I know, it could be this individual with one of her fucking friends that are stealing Andre's bike, being that's her childhood memory with her brother going into people's yards and stealing bikes and just fucking off with them. And then just tossing them off to the side when they don't need them no more. She thinks that's a good memory. She thinks that's funny. She thinks that's normal behavior. So why wouldn't she carry on with it with Andre's bikes? Being that she likes to come into my yard with her silver fucking butter knives, digging around in my dirt in the middle of the fucking night as she's poisoning my plants with bleach. Okay? And she still has the audacity to stalk me. This is not just an online stalker, people. It's not that cut and dry. Like, this girl has a serious mental fucking illness. And I swear, in this little video, she talking about how she got herself a little shirt from her auntie, who clearly eggs her on, just like the mother eggs her on, as she's opening up in a card saying, oh, the winter witches, and looks at her mother and at her aunt as if the 3 of them are fucking witches, and they're gonna what? What are they gonna do, people? Because they sure in the hell aren't standing up to this little bitch and telling her to back off, act her fucking age, grow up, you know? No, they're egging it on, people. At least the mother is. She clearly can't control her own freaking kids. She only had 2 of them, I think. Or maybe she had more. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is she can't control this one, and she sure in the hell couldn't control Julian. And if anything, she egged them on to the point where my daughter is now dead because of that family. And this thing is a reminder of that. In terms of that family. Oh, I know. I'm not supposed to say anything, and she'll just go away. She's just looking for attention. Yeah, she is looking for attention. And I'm giving it to her. And I hope the mother watches these videos and gets the clue that her daughter is sick. Literally fucking sick. Because if Tisha acted this way towards that mother, you don't think that mother wouldn't be going on about, oh, Tisha's doing this, and Tisha, what's the matter with that mother not controlling Tisha? That Tisha needs to be locked up in a mental institution because she creeping my fucking yard and she pulling out my roses. Huh? But of course that's not happening to this individual's mother, because it's that individual's mother who is fucking provoking this one to carry on with this shit. As this one sits up on YouTube convincing herself that between her mother, her aunt, and herself, the little winter witches, you know. What, were you waiting for me to die so you can think you can get Amari? Ha ha ha, big fat fucking joke. Big fat fucking joke. That's why I'm putting this shit up on fucking YouTube. Just documenting it. So what, is this a representation of 2023 until the next time they lock you up in some mental institution? Because clearly you disappeared for a month and a bit, ended up getting fat, even you complained about, oh, I gained weight, I can't wear this shirt. And then just toss the shirt off to the side. Yeah, exactly, because you're an ungrateful little fucking bitch. And clearly, your mother encourages that kind of behavior so that something along the way she thinks she's gonna get. What? That she's the queen that bosses everybody around without being actual, you know, verbal about it? It's called manipulation. Julian didn't kill Shamay by himself. He had help. I'm up for round 2023. I have no problem for it. No justice, no peace. Shamay hasn't gotten no justice yet. Just because Julian got shot down in a fucking gas station didn't bring Shamay justice. Julian didn't kill Shamay by himself, which now takes me to this little fucking video. I'm not gonna drag on with this, people. I'm just documenting this little bitch is still fucking stalking me. And she thinks it's fucking funny while her mother fucking eggs her on. What's new? What's fucking new? And she's got her auntie jumping on the fucking bandwagon. What's fucking new? As she brings in her new friend, her new fucking friend. This is some new little friend with her 10-second shorts. And you know what? I see this, and the only thing that I can think of is that's the next fucking victim. The girl doesn't know jack shit about what she's freaking dealing with here. The girl is gonna end up fucking dead. Let me remind you. And then, in this little video, she's doing her little makeup crap, right? And, talking to herself, people. Literally. Talking to herself. Okay, so now it is, December 26th, I guess the next day, right? 2022. We're in the kitchen as usual. I'm in my cupboards here, people. Okay? For every solution, you create another problem in terms of where do you put this stuff? But I'd rather have this stuff with that problem than have none of this and no food. Okay? So basically what's happening here is I'm reorganizing. So here we got mung beans. These you can sprout. Okay? So I like the container it's in. You know me. I have a thing for jars. We can blame my mother for that. Alright. There is no such thing as hard white wheat. It's either hard red wheat or it's soft white wheat. And I'm not no expert on wheat in terms of, I can't just look at it, not that I can see it very well. But all these kernels that I've been buying and these little so-called wheat berries, they all look different for the most part. Obviously, I could see better when I jarred everything up. But, okay, do you notice? Oh, is there a sticker on this? No. See? I'm putting stuff in jars or whatever. And I didn't label it because in my head, oh, you'll remember. Or you'll label it later and you forget. And then you come back 4 months later or whatever it is. Do you honestly know what's in there any more than me? No. It's wheat of some kind. It could be the same. Now this one was put in here like it's a toss-up. It's either hard red wheat or soft white wheat. To me, maybe it might be a soft white wheat. Right? I'm not sure what's in there. This looks, from what I can see, I don't know. Right? I have to compare the kernels. So anyway, this, once I figure out what it is, will be emptied in this. It's either soft white wheat, and then I'll put soft white wheat, or it's red hard wheat. I've got a few more things kicking around that I should be able to figure it out, right? These jars, if you notice, I'm removing this out of here. This was, you know, this is how moths get in. This is not a secure lid. Now, what I like to do for jars like this is I like to make covers. Can you see? Because if a moth wants to try and get in, chances are it's going to come up through the bottom, and because on the inside of this, I'm just showing you, right? On the inside of this, I have to make labels. I forget. Obviously, those are peas, right? But there's it's you know, it's right. So if a moth comes in from the bottom and wants to climb all the way up, so he can try and, because moths will eat through plastic, just so you know that. It's hard for them to do it, but they can do it. Okay. Chances are, if you get a moth, if you have moths, haven't had moths in the house for basically a couple of years, right? Maybe more than that, I guess, because the city sprays, right? I haven't had no quote-unquote moth problem per se as I did several years ago. Even this year, we didn't even have a, you know when you get fruit flies, right? There wasn't even much of fruit flies this year. So, but insects are dying all over the place. So I suppose that wouldn't be unusual. Anyway, if there's a moth flying around and it wants to get up in here and chew at your plastic or get up underneath your, you know, and worm its way, because it can, what you're doing is you're just preventing it from getting up there too fast, and chances are it's going to end up lodging itself in here and then maybe, you know, going into a cocoon or something, who knows, right? They get stuck in here, right? They don't make it all the way up. Hold on a minute. And then you can see I jarred up some rye. in November of 2021. But I'm going to take this and put it in its own rye bucket because I probably have a few more things around that have this, okay? And if not, I have them downstairs vacuum sealed and whatnot, right? And I ordered another 22 pounds because rye is good for blood sugar, right? Okay, so I'm not taking this out, but this one will get its own bucket for sure. And as I come across, because I'm going through everything, right? As I come across, I'm now just, right? I'm not sure what that is. All I know is, you know, it's not a good idea to keep them in jars like this, especially if you're going to put a moth down in a cupboard. But like, again, I haven't really had a moth problem for quite a while. Clearly there's nothing here, right? Because if there was moths in the house, they'd already be up in here. So when you're ordering jars, like seriously, you want these kind of jars.
You always know.
Okay, preferably I would say they're a little more expensive to buy them with the metal lid, but they just last. These, you know, if they're in the air or just whatever, you know, they're not. I only bought these because they had the little knickknacks inside and that was discounted, and so I saved myself $8. Anyway, long story short, I was a naughty girl on Boxing Day. Yeah. I got an email from UPick saying you get 20% off on one on Boxing Day. And I'm like, oh, 20% off. Well, I was okay with those dates, and I was okay with those raisins. And, you know, if I can save 20% off versus buying them in 2 months from now and having to pay more, because I told you I wanted to do one more order, right? So I went on the website. The dates are coming in at 60, and they're nothing fancy, but they're high calorie count with the basic minerals and vitamins, and, right, the same calorie count as it is with every other date. And you know, this batch I'm more than likely going to end up like the ones coming in. Definitely I'm going to dehydrate the raisins, and they're going into long-term food storage, right? The ones that I have up here, I've already jarred up. I got 3 1-gallon jars for the amount of raisins that I bought. And when I bought them, they were coming in $90 or $90. It was between $90 or $97. Okay, so, and that was for oh geez. Well, you've seen how much that was, okay? And the dates were coming in at $60 for, just hold on a minute. Okay, so, I don't know what I was saying. I'm talking about being a naughty girl on Boxing Day. Because I got an email saying I could get 20% off at UPick. So I went on the website, and because I liked the dates, even though they're just your standard date, nothing fancy, I decided I wanted another box because I already mentioned that, right? I'm going to continue dehydrating. Okay, that's what I'm going to do because it will last longer. You get more in the jar, and it doesn't spoil, okay? And I wanted another box of the raisins. And when I first bought them, which wasn't even a month ago, like these guys are, like they're sneaky, man. They send you something in the mail saying that you can get 20% off. You get your product, you think, okay, whatever, right? So you go check it out, right? Obviously, I want a double batch because I'm now working towards my more long-term, right? Versus what I've got here. Like, I'll have enough to last me for 2 to 3, 4 years, and that's making a lot of freaking raisin pie and putting it into bread and or whatever it is that I do with them, okay? Like, and I feel good about that. I really do, right? So for the raisins, they're called Sultana, and they're from Turkey. We know that now. At 12.5 keys, which is 25 pounds, I think. Right? And then the dates are 10 keys, which is 22 pounds per box. So what I ended up doing, because, you know, for the price, and I was getting 20% off, $60 a box with 20% off, I ended up getting 2 boxes. Right? So I've got, what, 44 pounds of dates coming? Right? 22 and 22 pounds. Yeah, 44 pounds of dates, to which the majority of it I will dehydrate. And then I'm going to jar them up. And I did. I bought 8 more jars, specifically for what I ordered. Talk about being naughty. Wait till you see my happy hour. Serious. I got it all figured out. Okay. So, and the raisins, I'm okay with the raisins. You know, in terms of price, whether I go through Organic Matters or whatever, right? You know, like, I can't afford the golden raisins because it's like almost twice as much, and I guess it's the golden raisins that come from California. So I'm just, you know, I'm a poor woman, right? And I'm going to end up dehydrating those anyway, right? I'm not sure how they're going to dehydrate because they're, what, coated with vegetable oil or something like that. I don't have the bag on me now, but we'll find out. They'll be fine, right? And then I'm going to jar them up. I'm going to jar them because they're going away long term. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do, right? Because I want to look after them. And then what I did, you can see, create myself a dilemma here, right? This has to be still jarred up. Remember, I lost two jars because somebody stole the box off my porch. Well, this one's still waiting for a jar, and that's grounded up mulberries, right? This one I'm keeping upstairs, right? What is that? Raisins, Sultana raisins, right? Undehydrated. And I also keeping upstairs a jar of the new dates that just came in, okay? As well as I'll be keeping up some of this date sugar that I've been making from older dates. And then here, these are the dates, right? And I've got 1 jar for myself. And I still have a jar in a bag that I'm going to dehydrate, right, which is going to be going into the dehydrator soon to mix in with the older dates, right? And that's the jar I'm going to be keeping up here and using, right? So depending on what I'm doing, you know, or what, right, I have the choice of either taking a measuring cup and just scooping up a whole bunch that's already compact and then cook it, because that's what you'll be doing with it, right? And so, of course, I'm thinking, well, you know, all right, so anyway, we've got these 2 extra jars here of the Sultana raisins, and if you notice, I put not dehydrated, right? Not dehydrated. So the next box that's coming in, those ones will be dehydrated because I've got 3 gallons undehydrated. It's going to take me a while to go through 3 gallons unless I'm making a lot of raisin pie because everybody decides that they like it. And there's only so much pie I can make, so we'll see. Right? All I know is I don't have to worry about it after the fact, okay? That's all I care about, right? Like, basically, raisins will be off the list for a long time. But, of course, I'm thinking, well, okay, well, what are you going to do with all these dates? You know, I mean, again, the classic is the date square, which is with rolled oats. The problem with that, though, is, well, you can store long-term whole oats, whole, like the large flake rolled oats for a fairly long period of time. Quick oats, you cannot, okay? But you can also order the whole oat in a kernel form that's had its husk taken off, but it's still in the kernel.
Hey,
Hey,
guess what I got?
what is that?
Tammy gave it to him.
What is that?
Tata's mom. You know Tata?
Chocolate.
Oh, I'd like to have some of that later. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Today he got to bring his simple switch.
Okay.
Yeah.
His
All
mom.
right. Uh-huh.
His mom said just don't break it.
Just don't break it.
And what is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a case on it.
All right, then. Go on.
I just need this kitty to move.
Did you
Yeah,
have to like that
she just
comfort?
moved in. I don't know. She's a weird one, that one.
I think she's
But
really
we
friendly.
like her. She's nice
Yeah.
for the most part.
All the other cats kind of seem to not like her.
Well, they're learning. Well, that's because she's an alpha. That's why she came in bossing everybody around, so they're pissed off about it. Right, but that's only because she wanted to survive, people. That's the only reason. Okay, why else would that cat come to my house and just move in and not leave? Okay, I mean, she was starving when she showed up, right? Like when we realized that she was just sitting there and wouldn't move in our garage, and then she followed Andre up, and she was just being all whatever hyper and so excited to see us as if she, we were family or something. Right. And I said, well, maybe she's hungry, and she just wolfed it down. So it's like, and then she just decided she didn't want to leave, right? So, anyway, she's definitely a thinker, this one, that's for sure. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh yes, the rye kernel.
By the way,
No, the whole oat. The oat that's actually in a kernel. Only the outer husk of it was taken off because that's the inedible part. It can take up to an hour.
new guns, right?
Can you guys lower your voice? It can take up to an hour to cook it in a pot of water on the stove. And then it becomes like a porridge or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay. Well, you've got the whole oat, and you've got the oat groat, grout, or whatever the heck it's called. Grout. Grout. The steel cut oats. I have steel cut oats, which is larger than your large flake oat, right? I have large flake oat in buckets that came in as buckets, but we're going to be going into an oat shortage in the next year or two if things don't change. Okay? So in a situation like that, for me, investing into another 44 pounds, I guess, because I was looking when I was pricing it out, right? In terms of a whole oat, which is like in the form of a kernel. I mean, like, I could grind that up and make oat flour and then mix that in with quote-unquote flour, shortening and whatever, and make kind of like a paste, like a bread dough of sorts, you know what I'm saying? And lay it down, and then take my date sugar, quote-unquote, which is strictly nothing but dates, and some butter and that kind of stuff, right? Make a paste and spread it out, and then lay another layer of your dough, your oat flour dough that you made from the kernels. Because I'm like, well, nobody's going to eat porridge, oat kernel porridge. I just don't see that happening. But if that's all you had, oh my God, you'd be so happy to have it, right? So, it's not about not wanting to have it per se, outside of I want the security that it can provide long term and be able to be stored for long term. So I am budgeting in next year assuming that it will even be there next year. You see, that's the thing. You don't know, right? And you go back to order and they're out of stock. So keep your fingers crossed, right? But yeah, no, I'm going to probably end up ordering whole oat in the kernel form just as a backup, but also if I can use it as a flour, you know, as I'm going with certain foods, especially with dates. Dates and oats go really good together. The only thing is, you know, I could go the route of the steel cut oat, right? And it's, I don't know, they do something where those ones can sit for a fairly long time. You're talking years and years, right? In a proper container type thing. So anyway, okay, so I got time to think about it. And then I'm probably going to order myself some more navy beans too. Like that's next year. Right? In terms of like, if I had to do something, what would I do? Right? And I've already planned on stocking up on oats. I just want the value for my money in terms of, I want a lot. 44 pounds really isn't a lot, but it's a good weight, right? And you can get a fair amount for 44 pounds in kernels. And you know, and I would use it for bread for bread making of sorts, in combination with dates and raisins and that kind of thing, unless I can think of something else along the line, right, when I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. So anyway, I went to go order the first batch of raisins. When I bought them, was coming in at $90. This time around, it came in at $127. Sneaky buggers. Yeah, $90. So they increased it by $37, which pays for your discount. And I just put this order in on the 4th of December. Do you see how that works? Now, we'll be curious to see if they drop the price on the raisins after their Boxing Day quote-unquote sale. Because if they do, I might just get bitchy and contact the company, and I'll say, what kind of crappy shit is that? I buy it at $90 on December 4th of 2022. You send me an email saying I can get 20% off if I buy today because it's Boxing Day, which is December 26th. The only thing is you jacked up your raisins by $37 more, which made me feel I had to be impulsive and buy it now before it got too expensive. So, of course, I bought them because that's what I went in looking for, was to reorder, right? Now, if I go back in 3 weeks from now, though, and those raisins drop down to back down to $90, I'll be choked. I would probably write the company and say, no. that's bad business practices. Right? You should have kept the price at $90. Right? Versus trying to make the customer think that they were getting a deal with a 20% discount. Right? The numbers don't add up. If they keep it at $127, well, then I guess it was worth it. Do I need to do it again after this? No. Trust me, I don't like dehydrating really gooey stuff. Like, I got the mulberries in the dehydrator still. I still got that date in the dehydrator still, right? And then as soon as they're out, I'm going to be putting in more date. And now we've got the raisins coming with more date. So I'll be dehydrating for a month, okay? But if you want to keep it long term, like if it, you know, like this other stuff, I'm thinking 2 to 3 years maybe, right? If not sooner, depends what happens, right? But if you're going into 4, 5, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, this is where you kind of want it really, really hard and crunchy, and it will last because of the sugar content in it, okay? I know, because I've done blueberries like that. Right, you get them all gooey, and if you want anything to last, trust me, dehydrate it, okay? Like, I get mine from the farms, right? Big box full. Boxes, right? Or whatever. And, I'm dehydrating, right? And, yeah, it takes a long time to dehydrate blueberries, too. But once you dehydrate them and you put them in a container, oh, man, it'll last forever. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing I just wanted to mention here is, I don't know if people have noticed this, and I'm not no expert on cans, but I've handled a lot of cans in my time. Okay. I don't know if it's my imagination station or what, but I just bought these. When did I buy these? Just recently, because I haven't even, not this one. This is an old school one that's been under my cupboard for a while, okay? It's a no-name, I guess. Yeah, this is a no-name brand. And then you've got Carnation as well, right? Now, I don't know when I bought this, but bought it a while ago. These ones I just recently bought. What was it? December 17th? December 17th or something like that when I went to the eye doctor. I know for a fact I checked all these jars, or cans. I know it for a fact. Because when I'm buying things for long-term food storage, I don't like dented cans. I don't think anybody does. But for whatever reason, however it happened, if you notice though, look where they're denting. Something happened. Andre, did you step on these cans that were on the floor in a bag? No? Well, what happened? Because something is clearly happening here. I would not have bought these people like that from a store thinking to put them into long-term food storage. Okay? Now I've got other ones that didn't appear to have this problem, and I put them away already. I left them upstairs, especially after I seen this shit. This is not anything you want in a long-term food storage. Okay? Let me also say something here. Now, if you notice, I don't get into the freeze-dried foods. One, because it's expensive for the amount in terms of weight, what you're getting. Two, I've heard you have to be careful who you buy from, because even though it says freeze-dried, some of the stuff that's coming in through these various products, in usually number size 10 cans, have been dehydrated. I guess vegetables and fruits, right? Or if you get a meal or something and it says chicken with this and that, when you open it up and you go to, use the product, there's hardly very little chicken in it. You're paying mostly for rice and vegetables. So it's a hit and miss, unless, of course, you're dealing with a company that, I don't know, provides a quality product, to which I can't, I can't afford to be trying to figure that out. And then the third reason is because I thought I was on the craze, right, with the food prepping, and I wanted powdered cheese. And I just didn't want a little, right, So I ordered 3 cans, number 10 cans of Argosy Farm powdered cheddar cheese from, I guess it was a third party. They shipped it to me. By the time I got them, I don't know what was wrong with those cans, but they were kind of bulging. I didn't even want to open it. So here I am phoning up, trying to contact other companies that deal with number 10 cans to find out if that's normal. Because if it's not normal, I'm sending it back. At first they wouldn't take it. Said whatever, and I just took it to Amazon. I ended up getting my money back. It was like $323 or something. That's when I did that video. I took it to Staples to send it back. They refused to take it because it was food, right? And then, I was arguing, and, FedEx drove by and didn't pick up, and then they had to get another one. I was sitting outside crying, and it's just stupid shit, right? I said, fuck that shit. I'm not even gonna go there again. You're gonna spend $323 or whatever the hell it was for 3 cans that are very, small in terms of weight, and to have them come bulging, and you can't return them, and then, just, no, that's okay. That's okay. That's why I don't use them, people. That's why I don't buy them. I prefer this. Myself, this is comfort food, okay? All right? Now, in a situation where I guess you could say the hydro goes out and the house begins to freeze, the only thing I would recommend is wherever you have stuff like this, if you notice there's a fair amount of headspace. So, and they're wide mouth. See, another reason why you want wide mouth. Well, that's a wide mouth. Because as this one freezes, let's just say, right, it will crack up in here. This is why I prefer wide mouth, especially with me. Either or, you just cover it up lightly with some kind of insulating blanket and hope for the best. Okay? Either or, in terms of like, well, if your deep freeze went out and hydro never came back on for weeks on end because of God knows what, if the house is freezing, chances are whatever's inside the deep freeze will stay frozen. But if things start to melt in there, oh boy, you're in trouble. Here, well, you might get all your jars busting. You might not get any jars busting. I guess it really depends on how you insulate things, right? I'm just saying. So, but yeah, back to these cans, like, this is, so I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Because you heard Andre say he didn't step on him, and even if he did, people, he's not strong enough to start doing stuff like this. Like, these cans are buckling. There's like what the hell happened? It's like, I don't know. And like, you can squeeze the bloody thing. This one here has been kicking around the house for a while. I don't know, I guess you can squeeze this one a bit too, but that's just too many cans. Same thing with these ones. Starting here too. Look, you see? It's like almost like it's doing it on its own. Where is it? There we go. It's almost like it's doing it on its own. They're inferior. These cans is right here doing it over here too. Why? Here too. And I know for a fact I checked them all and they weren't like that. And this was just from the 17th. So I'm thinking, well, it's that shrinkflation, where companies are slivering off their aluminum, right? They're watering it down, right? They're not making it as thick as it should be, and if it is, it's just at the bare minimum of anything less past that. It's going to be useless to the product because they'll just, right? So now I'm going to have to use these up soon, and the ones that weren't doing that, I put them in there, but there is no guarantees because I'm wondering if this is a defect in the can itself because of whatever. I don't know. I'm just, when you're shopping and you're looking to buy bulk, for whatever your reasons are, you want a case of this and a case of that, and you know you're checking to make sure you don't have this problem, I don't know. Is it related to brand names? Or is it related to companies just cutting corners? Because I don't want too many of those sitting up in my long-term food storage. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. And now I'm all paranoid. Yeah. So before you start mixing up your cans with the old, the new with the old, you might want to keep the new off to the side somewhere and check them regularly to make sure they're not doing that shit. Okay? Because that's not cool. Right? Like, I don't know how that happened. And I think there's another one kicking around here too. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, you gotta be pretty freaking strong to do that. Like, it dented itself in. Like, my finger's like right in there. Like, why? How the hell did that happen? Anyway. Where's the lid for this? I already lost it. See? Blind as a bat. Blind as, oh, here we go. So that's what I'm doing. Sorting out stuff, being a naughty girl on Boxing Day. Right? And then my happy hour will be when I start canning my ham. I'm supposed to be, quote unquote, technically canning the ham. I figure I'll get 4 jars, and that will give me 2 full cases of what I've been doing. You can see I've got them already labeled, right? Everything's ready to go. I haven't had 1 jar pop yet, so I'm very happy with that. You know, anyone who does any canning knows that feeling, right? This is great. And then I've got four jars left to go, which will be perfect for the ham. And then, yeah, and then, but I'm, right? So I'm like, oh, don't worry. Just poke around with your wheat and whatever for a while and put it all away, and then you just start canning and get into that happy hour, right? Yeah. No, I'm getting ready to do the out, right? I'm trying to be strategic about this, but then I also got 8 more jars to factor in as to what I'm putting in them, which we already know. And I mean, storage is pretty straightforward, right? Because it comes 4 to a box, so I put them right back in the box. Where these ones, they come in this little box that they don't even fit in properly with the plastic lids, and they were okay, whatever. So I went with what I personally like when it comes to metal lids, right? Because if you want your jars to last a long time, go with the metal lid. Sooner or later, the plastic one will crack, right? So, I gave myself a, what is that called? Kink neck. Laying down too long. When I get into that, oh, I want a rest mode. Yeah, but that's okay. It doesn't happen very often. Plus, I've been putting, you know what it is? I'm having to put my head back. Right, I do that 3 times a day with whatever the doctor gave me, and then the one that I use with Mr. and Mrs. Gill, secret recipe, and that one I just have to go like this with this little glass thing, and then I just kind of like, I don't, you know, it's pretty good. But this other stuff, oh, I have to go, it's terrible. That's why, because I'm cranking my head back all the time. Pinching nerves. Yeah. No. I'll get this all figured out in here. It's just a matter of time. Okay, like I said, I'm going through stuff. Here we go. Soft white wheat. What is this? What does it say? Of 2021. This one here, I got it as hard soft hard white wheat, which there is no such thing. So I don't know if this looks the same. Andre and Jude, can you come here and do something for me? You guys got better eyes than me. I need you to tell me if they look the same.
They look the same?
I don't know. Are they the same looking kind of wheat? Use a flashlight if you have to. Okay, because this is soft white wheat. Here it says hard, but there is no such thing as hard. So I made a mistake here. So does this look the same? Same kind of kernel?
Yes.
None of. Yeah, they look the same.
Here, open up that lid and compare. Because I'm putting it in a bucket because I'm scrounging around for jars. And I'm
Yeah, they look about the same.
Hold on.
Oh, you can charge this flashlight? That's cool. Well, look at that one, though. That one looks...
Oh, yeah, we'll grab a couple.
Yeah, they're the same. They have to be.
Well, no, it's not that they have to be because they're different wheats. Do it again. Just have in one hand. Here, I'll hold your hand out. Okay? Hold out your other hand. You put the two hands together. Now look.
They don't look different that much.
Yeah, they look the exact same.
Pretty much the same color, same size.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what you're looking for. Okay. All right then. Thank you. That's all I needed. That's okay. I'm emptying them into the bucket.
Oh.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, so now we know why I got these buckets, right? Because I'm going to be... these are my to-go buckets, right? The ones that you want to use daily to some degree, right? You know, if you're worried about bread, well, this is how you do it. Alright, so now I've got myself a new jar with a metal lid. So that makes me feel good because I'm short on jars. The mulberries will go in this one. I wouldn't store mulberries in any form long term. I don't think in one of these. I would prefer them in glass. And then, being that these are the same wheat, right? Based on what the boys said. Now I've got a whole bucket, pretty much. Unless I come across another jar, which I might have a jar in there, like a mason-sized jar. Because I did this a long time ago with mason-sized jars, and then I put them up in there, but never get to it, right? That's why I'm going to try it this way. So I will go looking in there through all my wheats, and that's when I was able to buy whole corn. You can't buy it anymore. You haven't been able to buy it for years. And whatever else is in there, but I'm pretty sure I have some kind of container that's got still soft white wheat in it somewhere. I'm not sure what this is. I don't think this is what that is. I forgot. So always go out of your way. This one could be red. It's hard to say though because of the color of the bottle, right? Either or, I'm not worried about that one. So now, what I like about this. Yeah, this is nice. So I've got one bucket with whole mulberries, dehydrated, for upstairs. Okay? Right? All this ground stuff, I just need one jar, and then I leave 1.9 liter of the ground up mulberry with the coconut sugar in that jar, right? I'm trying to just get what I want in order. And this is my soft white wheat that stays upstairs, that ends up being used on a regular basis as your transitioning out of store-bought bread and going into making your own bread regularly. Now, I seen a video from this elderly woman that does a lot of food prepping up in Alaska or someplace like that. I don't know the channel. I can leave a link to it though in the description box, I suppose. And she does a lot of canning and, you know, and gets a little more in detail in terms of the politics around food prepping and how you do it and why you do it and cost and this and that and everything. Anyway, she did a a video on the different types of wheats. She calls them ancient wheats, compared to your basic with the soft white wheat and the red hard wheat. And then when you start bringing in other wheats, like this is a spelt, okay? And then I've got another one, this one here, which I'm going to empty out, and I'm going to give it its own bucket. And where are we? Do you see? Okay. This is going in its own bucket with its own label. And then I get another jar with a, I guess you could say, metal lid. That's a metal lid. And I just gained myself 2 jars, so that's good. This one here, this particular wheat is the most easiest to digest. That's why I bought it, and I have a fair amount of it. But I'm not going to put this in its own bucket unless I find another one kicking around where I, you know, right? For now, it's fine here. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go through 7 buckets real fast here, people. Trust me, I know I am. But once I get it all figured out in terms of what I want inside them, and what I want in jars and where I want them, because I have to organize it, right? You know? So when you're looking for a specific thing in terms of your wheats, you can kind of find them over there. If you're looking for your beans, you can kind of find them over there. If you're looking for your, you know, your berries, you can kind of find them over there, right? And so on and so on. So, like this rye, for example, this is going in its own bucket. This is from 21 as well. But I've got other rye kicking around, and I'm just gonna have a bucket of rye. Because when you do your sourdough starter, you can do soft white wheat starter, hard red wheat starter, and a rye starter. And then you just work between those 3 starters in terms of the sourdough to incorporate whatever it is that you're going to incorporate into your food security daily diet. All right, it's just not easy doing this, you know. You put things away and now you're pulling out and you're emptying it out, like, duh. Okay, so mung beans, but these are ones that are really small. Where these ones, I'm pretty sure, again, I didn't label it, people. Oh boy. I'm pretty sure are mung beans. Andre, will you come look at this with Jude and tell me if they're the same? One is smaller though, but they're the same color, right?
And can cause all kinds of horrible things like earthquakes.
Ah, yes.
They're mung beans. Those are the things that sprout that when you make like fried
Yes,
vegetables?
they're the same.
The same color, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just one is bigger, one is smaller, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can we
All right
have-
then.
An advocate of the, is that what
See?
it's called?
Hard
Back
red
in, I'm guessing
wheat.
1817, I believe.
Anyway, it gets its own bucket. The other one, it said hard white wheat. There's no such thing as hard white. It's soft white. So, I'm assuming this is right. I don't know. I'm trying not to go nuts in here.
Earlier this year,
See, I make these little
this year,
jar covers,
water
right?
volcano ejecting water vapor into the mesosphere.
So now I'm coming up with a whole bunch of empty jars.
Crop production in the southern hemisphere, which is currently in its summer.
Empty jar.
Because of the water
But
vapor ejected
these
into the mesosphere
particular
by
lids don't fit very good. You can hear that.
South American crop
So I'm kind of like,
production is
I
down
don't know,
by
phasing out that
20 to
jar.
50%,
Right.
depending on the region.
Hold
And
on.
that's because of shorter growing seasons, because